We are here at the ARG 2019 Invitational with
Kyle Beggs.
And what did you play for this event?
I played Orcust that was pretty spicy compared to the standard list.
Sounds good. And what did you place?
I placed 13th after Swiss and then bricked twice in top 16.
That's rough, man. All right, let's get into it.
All right. So the reason I decided to play this was I played Danger Thunder at Nats. I've been playing Danger Thunder for the past 7 months. Thunder in general for the past 7 months, and then Danger Thunder since it's been a thing. And the deck's really good, has the highest ceiling in the entire format, but I feel like by this point in the meta, everybody's kind of figured it out, everybody's got answers for it, and sometimes you just lose just because you can't play. And I've been testing Orcust since we got Dark Nailstorm, and I think the deck's insanely fun. I think there's a lot of untapped potential in it that some people just aren't utilizing, and I just wanted to try it and see how it went, and it really paid off.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man.
So let's get into it.
All right.
Standard Orcust lineup for the most part: 3 Harp, 2 Nightmare, 1 Symbol, 1 Wand. I also play 1 World Chalice. There's a lot of reasons for this. The main one is that I actually play the Synchro Ib, and she can summon a World Chalice when she is sent to the graveyard. So that's the biggest thing with this one. And I chose this over the World Chalice Guard Dragon for a lot of reasons. For one, he's a Dark Machine, so he just naturally synergizes with the deck. You can summon him even if you've already Orcust comboed. He has a pretty niche on-field effect where you can tribute him to send a monster that was summoned from the extra to the graveyard when it's summoned. So it's basically a bottomless trap hole for an extra deck monster.
Wow.
If he's in your graveyard and he wasn't sent that turn, you can banish him to add a World Legacy card to your hand. So you can banish it to either add to a wand that you shuffle back to your hand, or you can add World Legacy Succession, and that's been really useful just for games that go beyond the first turn. Just having him be there for extra extension is really nice.
All right.
And then I actually play the Dangers in this, and I play all the Dangers. So 3 Nessie, 3 Jackalope, 3 Citronova, all the good Dangers, that is. I know a lot of Orcust builds are either cutting down on these, they'll do 2 and 2 of Jackalope and Tsuchinoko, or they'll do 2 of each of them, or they just won't play them at all. I understand where they're coming from, because this deck isn't really Danger Thunder, where their entire game plan abuses the Dangers and they just want to put all the bodies on board. And this deck, the Dangers are more of a supplement, where they're discard fodder, or they can start your Orcust combo by just getting you an extra body on the board. But they're there as compensation for when your hand isn't as strong as it could be, but you don't want to rely on them. But generally they help you push through disruption, which is really huge for this deck, because a lot of the times in the standard Orcust build, if your main play gets negated, your turn just ends, and I didn't like that about that deck. It's sure, you can play hand traps and you can stop your opponent also, but I would rather just push through whatever my opponent has. And the other big thing as the reason, because I did consider cutting these to 2 for the reasons I stated, but these guys being level 3 is really important, and I'll mention that in a moment. So I ended up just not cutting any of them, and I didn't want to cut Nessie because Nessie's just way too good. It's easily the best Danger.
Got it.
So for normal summons, I play 3 Scrap Recycler, 3 Mathematician.
All right.
So these guys are insane for a card that, actually I'll just mention it now, 3 Mecha Phantom Beast Lion. This card's nuts. So what this card does, it has 3 main things about it. For one, it's a tuner. If it is sent to the graveyard, it special summons the Mecha Phantom Beast token, and if it's in your graveyard, you can banish it to immediately normal summon a Mecha Phantom Beast in your hand. So the play is that if you open one of these, or one of the level 3 Dangers, if it's one of these, you normal summon this, you send one of the Alliance to the graveyard, you summon the token, and then you banish the Alliance to summon a second Alliance in your hand, and then you make Ib. And Ib just does so much for the deck. If you open the Danger, then instead you just normal summon the Lion, and then you activate the Danger, and you just do the same play.
And that token's level 3, correct?
The token is level 3. I actually have it right here somewhere. Oh, right here. Token is level 3.
Yeah, Mecha Phantom Beast tokens. Thank you, Konami.
Right. So the reason for these is that aside from this combo, they also will put Harp Horror in the graveyard, and I think one of the most important things this deck can do is start the Orcust combo with Harp already in the graveyard, because at that point, if they negate Mermaid, you still have plays to make, which I thought was a really big deal. And basically, when we were first building this deck when it came out, we were playing stuff like Armageddon Knight and Dark Grepher for the same reason, and I would still play those, but at that point, it's just too many normal summons, and Math has the utility with the O-Line, which is why I decided to play him. That being said, Math didn't really come up too much. I played 6 of them because I felt like I might have needed that many normal summons. It really didn't come up too much. So moving forward, I might cut these and just play the 3 Scrap Recycler. But another reason I played the math was I play 1 Jet Synchron. So while I was figuring out all this stuff with the O-line, I figured out there was another play you could do where if you open Scrap or Math, and then you open either Harp or Jet, and you open one of the Dangers as an extender, you can do the full Orcust combo, but you can also put Borreload Savage Dragon onto it, and I can show off that combo after the deck if people want. I can show off that in the O-line combo as well.
Definitely.
But like I said, this didn't really come up too much. The Jet Synchron play came up exactly once. I thought it would show up a lot more than that because I was trying to hedge around evenly matched by just constantly throwing Borreload Savage onto the board, but I just didn't have to deal with it all weekend. So moving forward, I might cut these for something else.
So as opposed to normal summon Candina, go get stage, you wanted all your normals to just, you wanted more out of them. You don't want to just sit on you don't want to rest on Mermaid.
That's correct. I actually was playing the Trickstar engine in this for a while, and then I cut it the night before. I do think the Trickstar engine is really good. Just because like light stage forcing so many things is just huge for momentum, and then it is just, you can hedge for 1 card combo if you need to, or if you already open one of these normal summons, just grab Korobane immediately. I just cut it for space because I felt like this was more important, but moving forward I'd probably just play the Trickstars again. The other nice thing about Trickstar engines is that you can play Terraforming, and sometimes searching the Orcust field spell is just really good.
Oh yeah, correct. All right.
And then the last 2 monsters are Cloak and Boots. You need to play these. Drawing them kind of sucks, but they're still pretty good. They'll be really good when we get All Mirage. That's the other thing. O-Lion becomes really, really good when we get Salamangreat All Mirage, because then it becomes 1 card combo. So that was like the one big weakness with O-Lion this weekend, is that by itself it didn't do anything.
Yeah. And also, playing 1-1 on the Phantom Knights, the dangers can ameliorate the problem of drawing one of the Phantom Knights, because it's just a dark body at some point.
Correct.
Yep.
And that did come up a good number of times where I just drew like Cloak, and I was like, well, I can still make the full combo.
Yep.
So for spells, 3 Cosmic Cyclone. This was a last-minute decision, and it was probably the best decision I made. Round 5, I played against a Mind Striker build, and that was the most insane match of the entire weekend. And just Cosmic Cyclone was the most clutch thing. And then in the mirror, you can hit the field spell, you can hit Fogblade. Against Salamangreat, you can hit Sanctuary, or if you go second and you need to hit one of the back row, you can hit that. It sucks a lot against Danger Thunder, but at the very least you can still like banish the seconds light they activate so that they don't get the shuffle, but obviously you take it out for that. But I thought it was too incredibly versatile not to play, and like it can get Lancea at game 2 and 3, but I think that's just a risk you have to take. His deck loses to Lancea anyway, so I don't really see a problem with that.
And then even with all the good discards, you like that over Twin for this? The banish just came up that often?
Yeah, it was just like, Twin is really good in this obviously because there's like 15 different cards you want to discard, but Twin I feel is only really good against Striker or anything that's playing Mine. Like against Salamangreat, they're probably not going to set a lot of back row, and even if they do, one of them's probably Roar. Yeah, I get those mixed up all the time. Danger, it doesn't do anything, and then it was good in the Orcust mirror until people started ending on Dingirsu. And it's like I lost a game to the guy who's like first seed right now because he opened the full combo with Dingirsu and he had the counter trap set, and I couldn't beat that, and I just didn't draw Cosmic Cyclone. But if it had been Twin Twisted, there's just no way I would have won that game.
Got it.
So yeah, I definitely think the banish was worth it. If it wasn't, I probably would have played Mystic Space, I think.
Excellent.
Foolish Burial. This is like at times the worst card, but it's also at times the best, because like if you don't need it, it's the most unnecessary thing in the world, but when you do need it, is the best card ever, so I would just never cut it. Field Spell, World Legacy Succession. I'm pretty sure most people know what this does because it was huge during Goki format, but it's basically Monster Reborn to a zone that a Link monster points to. You play it because you search it off of Ib, and you can also search it off of the World Chalice.
Sweet.
And Upstart Goblin. Shout out to Patrick Hogan.
Yeah, man. 39 cards.
39 cards. This is a 40 card deck with the 1 Upstart. And then Traps, 2 Fogblade, Shade Breeding, and Crescendo. That's pretty straightforward.
Got it. All right, you gonna do side or extra?
We'll do extra.
All right.
Shout outs to the boys.
Yeah, man.
So MVP, Ib.
There she
People's
is.
faces just lit up when I played this card. They just didn't expect it. This card does three things that are all amazing. For one, she is a Synchro tuner, so she gets you to the next card, which is Borreload Savage Dragon. When she is Synchro summoned, she adds a World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. So you can either add the Succession, which is what you normally do, or you can add the Wand if you already have the Succession or if you need the discard. I was messing around with other World Legacy cards. Like I tried upping the Successions because I thought the card was really good. And then I also tried World Legacy Sorrow, the counter trap. They're all really good, but they made my hands brickier, so I just ended up cutting them. Her other effect is that if she was synchro summoned and she's sent to the graveyard, she special summons the World Chalice from your deck or graveyard, so that's where the World Legacy World Chalice comes in. So basically, she's like 3 bodies by herself if you synchro summon her, and then she puts Borderless Savage on the board, which is another negate, and that was the biggest reason I liked this, is that she first came up when we were testing her with Destrudo, and I was like, well, you can do the whole play and then have this Borderless Savage that hedges they survive the Boral Sword attack. And then I was like, well, why don't we focus on making her going first? And that's just how this ended up playing out. And Borderless Savage is good. If you drop this and your opponent doesn't respond, or your board is just so much better. Especially like this and the counter trap is like, that's so hard to break.
Absolutely.
Redoer, this card's really good. Don't really feel like I need to say anything about that. 2 Dingirsu. 3 Galatea. 3 Galatea does come up a fair bit, so I do think it's correct to play 3 of her. We played 2 for a while, and it's funny is that sometimes it feels like you can get away with 2, but then like that third one comes up and you just really wish you played it. So, Long Girsu. This came up way more than I thought it would. I don't entirely like this card, but sometimes just like being able to send a linked card to the graveyard is just really good.
Did it come up a lot going first, or just making it later in the game to shuffle back?
I actually don't think I ever made it going first. I know that's something that we've tested a lot, where just have it and then you can just put it there, and then your opponent is forced to put something in extra monster zone. It's just a free send to the graveyard. But it was. I think there was one instance where I could have done it, and then I chose not to because it would have given up the Ancient Cloak in my hand, and I wanted to save it for the next turn. Or it was the Silent Boots, and I did end up using it next turn, which was really important, so I just sat on Galatea.
Got it.
But it would have been pretty nice. Bardish, I'm really starting to get afraid this card might get banned.
Yeah.
Which is like, it would suck, and the deck would be playable without it, but God, he's so good. Even like, I usually side out most of the Phantom Knight cards going second. There was one match where I sided out all the Phantom Knight cards going second. I still made this because this and Dingirsu just wiped out their board. They had like, I Lancia'd him, so he had Colossus, Phantasma, and I just made this, made Dingirsu. The Chainlink 1, this targeted the Phantasma, and then chained Dingirsu so he couldn't respond with Phantasma and just send both to the graveyard and swung per game.
So good.
Yeah, so it's insane. Boral Sword, this card is amazing. I probably lost track of how many times I killed people with this. And then the Nightmares, Cerberus, Phoenix, Mermaid. I was on Unicorn for a while over Cerberus, but after testing a lot, Cerberus kept coming up a lot more than I thought it would. Because I feel like on paper this card's not actually that good, but it just kept coming up. So, and it came up a lot this weekend. And Unicorn, I've found, is that Link 3 is actually pretty taxing in this deck, especially because you usually want to go into Boral Sword anyway, and going into Unicorn gets you further away from Boral Sword. And generally in situations where you can make Unicorn, you can also usually make Dingirsu and it's better. Like the one weakness is if you have to make both in the same turn, but that like never comes up. And in that situation, you can Long Girsu and then just go into Dingirsu. And then the last card I played was Beat Cop. My reasoning for this was that if I was playing against Salamangreat and I got double hand trapped, so if I got Ashed and Veilered, usually there you have Mermaid and then you have like a Dark and then you have another Dark, like you can summon a Danger. And so if you can turn that Mermaid and one of the monsters into Beat Cop and then the last Dark and Beat Cop into Bardish, you at least still have some form of play. I don't think it really came up at all this weekend, and whenever we get Salamangreat, El Mirage, this will probably become that.
Got it. All right. Side deck.
Yep. Mostly straightforward, really. 3 Lancia, have to play it.
Pretty sure there was 3 of these in every top 16 deck.
Pretty much. So, like, there's no reason not to play this card at 3 right now. I hate this card, and I think it should be banned, but I also think we need it right now, just because of how incredibly powerful Danger Thunder is. 2 Droll. This was another last-minute decision. This was Phantasma before the event, and I decided that I just wanted more cards that will just put a straight stop in Thunder and then just let me play and kill them. I only sided it in once because there was only one Thunder deck where I had the chance to go second, and I didn't draw it, but I won that match anyway. 3 Gamma and Driver, this card is insane. At Nats, at this event, every time I've dropped Gamma, it's just been the most insane thing. I actually did a play against the Thunder player where I Lancia'd earlier in the turn, and then I Gamma'd when he tried to Diablos me, and then the Gamma and the Driver stayed, and I just like went off. Because
cards can't be banished.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Absolutely absurd. 3 Called by the Grave. I decided not to main this, and before the event, I was not playing this at all. I really don't like this card. I feel like theoretically it should never be needed. I feel like in any situation where you would have Called by the Grave, if you had another extender, you would be in just as good of a spot. And I really don't like that it conflicts with the dangers, because it's like if you can't set this, and then if you hit it with a danger, then it's the worst feeling in the world. I eventually got convinced to at least side it, because losing to Lancia, it really sucks. Like, this deck cannot play through Lancia to the same degree that Danger Thunder can. Sometimes you just have to like set and pass and sit on it. So having Called by the Grave as that hedge, and then like also just to deal with other hand traps. I was also really afraid of no material, so it was like Lancia and no material. Like, if it was just Lancia, whatever, but now that no material is a thing also, I was afraid of that too. So going first, if I played a deck that I just figured had a lot of hand traps, I'd just play Called by the Grave.
The nature of the main deck pretty easily plays through the main deck hand traps, and this is just for the more impactful ones that are only in the side decks.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I definitely think it was correct not to main it, but I also think it was really good to side it. And then 3 Twin Twisters, because mine is awful.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Against a striker player, I drew like Cosmic Cyclone and Twin Twisters in the matter of like 3 turns, and then swung for time. I swung for game in time, and like the last second I swung for game, brought him down to 41 at my 45, and then he just called time immediately. It was like the most hype thing the entire event.
Yeah, so watching that game, that was intense, man.
Yeah.
That was intense. All right. Any closing thoughts or shout-outs?
Yeah, shout-outs to you, Peter, for also topping this event.
Thank you.
For helping me build this deck. We've tested this since Dark Neostorm, and a lot of our ideas, I think, came into fruition and paid off. Shout-outs to all our friends who came with us, Gabe Covington and his infinite positivity, Manny and the fact that round 2 he screamed Judge and the entire room heard it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Shout-outs to Patrick Hoban's book, Road to the King. If you haven't read it, read it. We both read it, and we both topped an event, so obviously it's doing something.
Really does help.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, man. Thank you very much, Kyle. Congratulations again.
Thank you.